When you woke up this morning, you weren't feeling the best. But you were at camp and you slept on the ground in a bedroll, so maybe it's just a little damp and maybe you slept on a rock. But you pulled up your gear and you and your party moved on. And you just tried to be a little careful. Just a little more cautious. Things were going pretty decent. You did stub your toe once, which is a little unusual for you. But then you got to the lock. And that's why they brought you, remember. You're a box man. You open locks. Nothing gets in your way. So when the pick broke, you froze for a second, but you're like, that kind of thing happens to every box man at least once in their life, right? So you pulled the broken pick out, you grabbed another one, and you went back to work. And when the second one broke and stayed in the lock in a way that you were not going to be able to get that pick out, you knew something wasn't right. And you really didn't need Cedric whispering in your ear. Really? You break 2 picks? We have to be out of here. The patrol will come back. You suggested Cedric do something which was probably physically impossible that involved sex. And then you broke it to the party that you were going to have to do this the hard way, and you were going to have to chisel lockout. And that it was going to make noise, and the patrol could very well hear you. So get ready for a fight. Phaedra leaned in and said, "You okay?" In that soft, silky way Phaedra always had of saying things. And a smile flicked across your lips for a second. I said, "Yeah, okay. We'll get this done." And true to form, you did. But it did make noise. And when the 2 bugbears showed up, your friends had to go about their job. And you tried to help them. But the bowstring on your crossbow broke, which had never happened before. You know how to maintain gear. Heck, you're the person that takes care of a lot of the gear in the party, because you have a knack for the mechanical. But you guys got the item that you'd come to get back out of the box. And you picked up a few trinkets along the way that should cover your expenses and the healing that was going to be required. Because while no one died, everybody got hurt. That night at the new camp, in a different direction, Phaedra was still very concerned. Cedric was just being pissy in a corner somewhere. And Phaedra asked Diana if she could do a scan, see if you actually had an illness. Maybe that could be something. Because, in the world that you're in, illnesses can be very exotic. She ran the scan, came up nothing. You didn't even have a cold like you thought you might. And Phaedra was still very concerned. So they said, "All right, I'm going to see if I can do something." And Phaedra went to work, looking at tomes and pulling out a number of obscure, strange lenses, a number of them colored in some very strange ways. And after more than an hour, Phaedra sat back and said, "There is most definitely something going on here. And it's right here." They placed their finger on your heart. The thing is, nothing on your heart. You look down and you're like, "Phaedra, I can't see anything." And Diana said, "I'm not sick." And Phaedra said, "Yeah, I know. Because the thing that you've got isn't in this plane. The thing that you've got is in the ethereal. And I do not have the spells on me at the moment to take that on. Because I'm going to need to shift into the ethereal plane and hopefully be able to take it on. Better yet, I'd like to bring the other 2 with me. Because you, unfortunately, are going to have to stay here. Because I need you as an anchor. So whatever it is will stay in place until we can figure out what it is. Hopefully, figure out where to get rid of it. Because I'm afraid to say, you have a probability siphon. And you raise an eyebrow that would make Spock jealous. And you're like, oh, what? Phaedra smiled and said, most people just call him a luck leech. So that's what we have. We have a creature that dwells in the ethereal plane that attaches itself to someone. Someone that does many things that require probability. So not very likely to attach itself to a carpenter or to a farmer whose lives are very much staid, boring. You're not going to be making a lot of decisions or taking chances. Not a lot of skill checks in being a farmer and a craftsman for the most part. Most of the things they do from day to day are just going to be very simple tasks that don't require that. But there are some people that take risks every day, that gamble every day. And they are like the sweetest nectar to a luck leech. And they find you. They attach themselves to you. And they begin to siphon off your luck. So it becomes more and more difficult for you to do anything that involves probability, till eventually you can't do anything. So you either have to become very sedentary and hope it gets bored and goes away, or more likely, you die. And the luck leech just leaves and goes and finds some other poor soul to siphon off of. Because that's how the luck leech lives, siphoning off the probability of other people. Without it, the luck leech will pass on. Now, what the luck leech looks like is completely up to you. It could be leech-like. It could be a little shriveled person. It could be anything you want. It could be that weird star thing that DC has that like took over Superman at one time. The alien looked like a starfish with a big eye in the middle. So what the luck leech actually looks like is completely up to a GM. And every single luck leech could, in fact, be completely different because the ethereal plane is a really strange place. Let me just mark this down that I actually did this video. Trying not to repeat myself. I've done that. So how would you use the luck leech? Could you find a place for that in your campaign? How do you get rid of a luck leech? What do you do to satiate it enough to get it off, or to sour the milk, if so to speak, so that the luck leech will decide to go someplace else? And do you think it's in your best interest to leave the luck leech alive? Or should you kill it off to not only make sure that you yourself will not fall victim, but that some other poor soul will not also fall victim? How altruistic are you? Do you want to just get it off you, or do you want to take it out completely? Is there some way to reason to a luck leech? How intelligent are they? Do they have a strange nth dimensional way of looking at the world and they're actually got an intelligence in there? Or are they just merely bright creatures slightly above that of an animal? And they just happen to dwell in the ethereal plane. So let's talk about the weird creature known as a luck leech.